because it had been years since I had been on a plane. And I think I probably mentioned this in prior videos. If not, I may have mentioned at some point that I really don't like to fly. I really don't. And so I was really dreading that. And so I need to talk about this travel day because it was insane. Obviously, like, I'm okay, everything's okay, but it was a horrible nightmare, no good, very bad travel day. And I guess even before getting into that, like, I should mention that the days leading up to that trip were also awful. This video, I don't want it to, take a nosedive and get super sad, so I'm only gonna mention this briefly because I feel like I can't not say something. But in the days leading up to this trip, I had to say goodbye to my best kitty friend in the whole wide world. I mean, really my best friend, Vito, who was 17 years old, and he was going through some health stuff for a while, and it got really bad. Like I said, in the days leading up to this trip, which it felt like terrible timing, but at the same time, it's hard to say that I'm glad, but I'm glad I was home with him when he started to make that decline, because again, I was away for quite some time in these past few weeks, so but anyway, like, completely devastating. There's like such a void within me. I miss him so much. I have dreams about him all the time. And that could be what this whole video is about, and I don't want it to be that, so I guess I'm just gonna leave it there for now. But that's what, like, kicked off this great adventure. And I will say, honestly, like, to some degree, because I was so devastated and distraught about that, it took some of that, like, pre-flight anxiety away. I actually didn't care at all about the flight at that point, not until I actually got on the plane. But anyway, so that was, I think, 3 days before my flight that happened. And then the date that I was supposed to travel to my family, because I was going to fly out of a different airport so we could all fly out together, I had been planning to head out around, like, I don't know, probably like 5 o'clock, right after work. I was going to leave right after work, and that didn't happen because there was a huge snowstorm. And snowstorms in Vermont can be pretty bad. Now, I have an SUV. It's all-wheel drive. My understanding is that my tires are pretty good, like all-weather tires. But something about this storm, it was like a mix of snow and ice and all of the things. And I live in a very hilly area. So as I'm coming home from work during the snowstorm, I am struggling to make it up the hill. In fact, I can't make it up the hill. And I tried for a good, 30 to 40 minutes to try to find a way to my house, because there are a few different ways you can go. But each time I was, like, stalling out, sliding down the hill, like losing control of my car. Really scary. So after a certain point, I just gave up, and I drove my car to my friend's house, just barely, because even that was difficult to do. But I was able to park my car somewhere, and then I walked home, which it didn't best mood. I was still like really devastated about my cat, and I had a really long day at work, and I was supposed to be leaving so that I would have some time and I would sleep like over with my family because our flight was in the morning the next day, and my car was stuck. So obviously that plan got completely like just thrown out. And what ended up happening is we left here at I think 3 in the morning because we needed to wait for the snow to stop and the roads to get better because it was just not safe. It was one of those like winter storm like alerts that says like don't drive if you don't have to. Could be perilous. I don't mean to laugh, it's not funny, but the timing was it was terrible. And so we waited, slept a few hours, and left the house at 3. It was still snowing at this time, and the roads were still not good, but it was better than, hours prior, so I guess it was worth waiting just to be safe and to make sure we made it there, because it was a 3-hour drive to get to my family and to get closer to this airport. So anyway, we leave at 3. I hate waking up early, by the way. Like, my body does not feel good at that hour. And by the time we got to my mom, I think we had about an hour to spare before having to go to the airport, which was, a little bit of a drive from there. So I was able to quickly take a shower and have a snack, and I think that was about it, because then we just loaded everything up and went to the airport, and this was just the beginning of like the world's longest day. It shouldn't have been, but that's what happened. So anyway, we get to the airport, and it's honestly not bad. It's not a bad experience getting in. There was pretty much no line at TSA, which surprised me. We got in and out. There were therapy dogs roaming around, which I thought was great. I was petting the dogs, and that was fun. My roommate who was with me, because she was going on this trip as well, she actually got stopped by TSA because she forgot she had a pocket knife in her bag. But they were even really nice about that. They let her ship it home. Like, it was not a big deal at all, which I thought was interesting. So that happened, and everything was going smoothly. Like, I was feeling good about the flight. I wasn't feeling too anxious, and then I would say maybe like 30 minutes before, I found out like exactly where I was sitting. I hadn't paid much mind to that at all at the time, but I discovered that where I was in fact a middle seat, with people I did not know. I was not with my mom, my stepdad, or my roommate. In fact, we were all on different parts of the plane. Like, we were not together at all. And so that got me nervous because, like, thinking about just like my anxiety, and having not been on a plane for so long, I was worried that I would have to like do this with strangers. I didn't want to panic and get freaked out and then like be with people I don't know. So then I did start to get a little bit panicky. I was not excited about that. I was able to calm myself down, and we boarded the plane, and I'm trying to remember if it was delayed or not. I don't think it was delayed. I think we got on like no problem. So up my throat. So up until that point, it was pretty smooth. And then as we are on the plane, we start taxiing. And did we start taxiing? I don't even think we started taxiing. I think we were just all seated on the plane and we were about to start moving. And then the pilot announced that there was a ground stop at the airport we were flying to, which was Washington, D.C. And they didn't say why. They were just like, there's a ground stop right now. We will have an update for you in an hour. So, I was not feeling good about that. Obviously, nobody on the plane was feeling good about that. It sucks to just be stuck in your seat on the plane and to have to wait an hour, not even for like a decisive yes or no, here's what's happening, like just for an update. Luckily, I had my Switch, so I was playing Mario Kart and like listening to podcasts and stuff. I had like plenty of distractions because I knew I needed them. And so an hour goes by, they make an announcement, there is an update, and there is still another 30 minutes that we have to wait because the ground stop is continuing. And I looked it up. I found out that it was because the winds were really, really strong. It was a bad wind day, like pretty much across the country, I later found out. And everybody's flights were getting messed up because of it. So, we learned that at that airport, it was like one in, one out, like they were down to one landing strip, and they were being like very cognizant of who was able to get in, but that wasn't until later. Like it was still an hour and a half of just nobody was allowed in or out. So everything just got very backed up. Luckily, after an hour and a half, we were able to get off the ground. Might have been like a little bit more than that because then we still had to taxi and like do the whole this, that, and the other, and we had to wait because everything was so backed up. But eventually we got off the ground, which would have not been that big of a deal if that was our only flight. But we had a layover. We had a layover at Washington, D.C., obviously, because we were going to Phoenix to see my sister. We were going to Phoenix. Now, we had no hope for catching this connection because it was tight already. The timing was tight. Like, assuming nothing happened on our flight, which it did. My mom, ever the optimist, was like, oh, well, if there were issues at this airport, like, maybe it's still there. Like, maybe it'll be waiting for us. And it certainly wasn't. It wasn't. It took off like an hour prior. So, needless to say, we missed our connection, and we tried to get on another flight to get to Arizona, and then that one got canceled, and then we had to get another flight, which was not direct, so it was a flight with another layover, so then we were gonna have to get on a third plane. But luckily, I'm glad we didn't get stuck in Washington, D.C. We were able to get on a plane that had been so badly delayed that it was still there at the airport. And so this flight took us to... where was it? This flight took us to Denver, Colorado. And just for context, we were supposed to get to Phoenix, I think, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like at the latest. I think it was maybe earlier than that. We didn't make it to Denver until, oh gosh, let's say like 6 or 7 p.m., something like that, because of how bad the delays were and how long it just, everything was taking forever because of the wind. The wind was so bad everywhere. So it's like a lot of hurry up and wait because there ended up being delays for that flight as well. It's just like the time kept ticking back. And it was just miserable. And I had been up since 3 a.m. and I had just spent my entire day in airports and eating terrible airport food. And I should have mentioned, my brain is like not fully working yet because I'm still getting over this illness, but that first flight was terrible. Like, it was truly terrible. I see why there was a ground stop. I see why there were delayed flights, because coming into Washington DC was actually terrifying. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. Like, it was totally fine at the end of the day, but the turbulence was so bad. The wind was so bad, you could feel it. I was getting so sick, motion sick, because it felt like the plane was just doing this. Like, it was horrible, horrible. And I'm so susceptible to motion sickness. It was no good. It was no good. And of course, we made it there safely. Nothing bad happened, but I'm just saying, like, I understand why things got a little bit messed up, because it felt really strong. The winds felt really strong. Anyway, so then we get on to our next flight, which was heavily delayed. Every flight that I was on that day was delayed, every single one of them. But luckily, because every flight was delayed, let me think of how to say this. Because our third flight was badly delayed, it was okay that our second flight was delayed as well. Does that make sense? Because everything was just so far behind. Because otherwise, we would have missed our second connection. I never would have thought I needed to take 3 planes to get to Arizona, but whatever. So finally we get on the last plane ride from Denver to Arizona. I think these were the airports, by the way. I'm pretty sure. And we end up touching down. I don't know, I want to say after 11. Like, these are all ballparks, but it was late. It took us a while to deplane and get our bags and all that good stuff. Luckily, our bags made it throughout this journey. Originally, we thought we were going to have them with us on the plane, and they got checked, so we were just hoping that our luggage would survive to tell the tale, and it did. So that was a good thing. But the travel day did not stop there, because you see, our final destination was not actually Phoenix, because my sister went to a school called Embry-Riddle, and this was her graduation. Embry-Riddle is in Prescott, Arizona, which is about an hour and a half from the airport. And at this point, we need to get out of the airport, go get the rental car, and then drive to the hotel that is in Prescott. In order to get to the rental car station area, whatever, you need to take a tram. It is an airport tram. And at this point, we are all dead, asleep, like in terrible moods, hungry, need to go to the bathroom, not feeling good, all of the things, right? None of our needs have been met whatsoever. And we get on the tram, which is packed, by the way, packed to the brim, like New York City subway style packed. And we're going, and we're going, and we're going, and it's taking forever, and the tram keeps stopping, like randomly stopping and going again. At one point, it stops for a very long time, was saying, we are on this tram to get to the rental car station. It keeps stopping intermittently and starting back up and continuing on its journey. And at one point, it stops for a very extended period of time. And this time it starts to smell like burning electrical. And so right off, people start to freak out. And again, it's very crowded. It's very, very, very crowded. And people start to say things like, oh, it smells like fire. Oh, we're trapped. Oh, we can't get off this tram. Things like that. And it was true. There was no way to get out. It was fully enclosed and it was hot and it did smell like an electrical fire. So that was not fun at all. And I remember just looking at my mom and saying, I cannot take much more of this. I am at my wit's end. Because by that point it was near midnight. After just this full day of travel with 3 different flights. And maybe I'm just a huge baby when it comes to traveling, but again, I hadn't done it in so long and was just not having a good time. So eventually this tram reboots itself. It like totally shuts down and does a hard reset. I don't know, like thankfully everything got back and up and running and we kept moving and the smell went away. But there are few places I ever want to be where I'm like stuck in a very crowded space and people are panicking. Like oh my god, it was just not helping anything. So anyway, we finally get to this stop on the tram so we can go and get the rental car that we pre-ordered. But of course, everybody on that tram was also going there. So the line just to pick up the car was crazy. It was crazy long. I can't describe it because you don't know like what the layout of this place was, but it was a long line. And I remember nearly falling asleep with everybody's suitcases. Like I was on a bench with everything and I was trying to grab onto it. But like I was laying down on a bench and my eyes were closed. I just could not stay awake any longer. So that was unpleasant. And then we get into the car and like I said, at that point there was still another hour-and-a-half drive, which would have been no problem again if we got there when we were supposed to get there, which was like 3 in the afternoon, not after midnight. So needless to say, we were all exhausted and my roommate and I are in the back seat. Sorry. My mom and stepdad are in the front. And it's like as tired as I am and as badly as I want to fall asleep, I am like also fearing for my life, not because of anything that they were doing, but I knew how tired we all were. And I was so scared. I'm like, what if we all fall asleep? That didn't happen, but I was too afraid to fall asleep for that reason. So they like switched off and we tried to keep each other awake and keep talking and all that. What was crazy too was the elevation. Like it was pitch black, so you couldn't really tell where you were, what you were around, but we ended up going pretty high. I don't know exactly what the elevation was when we left, but I think it was pretty flat. Like Arizona, like Phoenix specifically, is a desert, and then Prescott is close to 6,000 feet, so it's pretty high up, and you could feel it because my ears were popping constantly the whole way, which is another reason why I hate flying, because it hurts so bad. But so that was another hour and a half in the pitch black while we are all just nearly falling asleep. This rental car, by the way, is like a monster. It is some Infinity SUV, and it was just giant. Like, there was a step to get into it. You couldn't get into it without taking a step. It was tall, it was wide, it was just huge. Like, huge. Obviously not what we asked for, and that's fine. Like, that's how it is with rental cars. You get something similar. But it was crazy big. It felt like we were in a bus, and I know that didn't help them, like, driving us to the hotel, because I don't know, I can't imagine it was very comfortable to drive that. Like, you're already in a place you don't know, and then you are basically driving a bus, so glad that I didn't have to do that. But so we get to the hotel, finally at 2:30. I want to say 2:30 in the morning. So I was up at 3 a.m. the day before, and then I made it to the hotel at 2:30 the following day. So it was truly like the longest. Oh my gosh, sorry, my phone is going off. So just the longest day of travel ever. And I swear, like, after that day, I was like, I am never taking another trip again. And of course, that's not, I had to get home, and I did already have another trip planned, like, immediately following, so I did have to get back on a plane. But wow, that, like, really took the wind out of my sails as far as travel is concerned. Like, that was awful. And I think I just got really unlucky because it was a high wind day and there was just, like, so much happening. But I've heard a lot of other travel horror stories like that, so I don't think it's that uncommon. And I just really don't like it. I really don't like it. So I am happy in the sense that I went because I faced my fears and I got to go on this trip. And Arizona is beautiful. I love Arizona. I've been there before, and I got to spend time with my sister, and it was a great trip. I wish I was there a little bit longer, but it was really nice and it was worth it. But my God, I am good to go for a long time without getting on a plane again if I can, you know. I know sometimes you have to do it, but I'm not gonna miss it. I'm not gonna miss flying. I did get to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm though, the new season. Well, it's been out, obviously. But the newest season 12, I watched a lot of that on the plane. I don't know. Had some crappy snacks. It's just not for me. And when I was in Arizona, I took a lot of video of the places that we went, and I cannot wait to make a vlog video next. That's what is, like, in the queue for me. I want to do a voiceover of that vlog because we went to a lot of cool places like Jerome and Sedona, and obviously, like, we were in Phoenix and Prescott, and just really beautiful. It was sunny the whole time. The weather was great. Went to a lot of places that I don't get to go to here in New his family, but we were all in it together, so it wasn't at least like I was the only one who was sick, or I don't know. It was still good to spend time with them, and hopefully next time we'll do a little bit more, because it was a lot of just hanging out on the couch and coughing and not feeling that good. But watched some good TV and movies there too. The new Knives Out movie and One Battle After Another, which I had already seen, but I was happy to do a rewatch because I love Leonardo DiCaprio. What else? I know a rewatch of The Righteous Gemstones, which I love that show too. So just a lot of TV. Played some Stardew Valley, just kept it really chill. And then came back, and I ended up staying with my mom and my stepdad for Christmas. And at that point I was sick, you know. It was weird. It was like I was not feeling well, and I felt I was not feeling well, and I felt like I had fended it off. And then I think like the day of travel, going back, like being in the airport, having like a crazy long day to get back to my mom and my stepdad for the holidays, like my immunity was just done, and literally that night I felt like sick. I don't know, it was weird. It was like an on and off thing. And it was like a different kind of sick. Like when I was in Tennessee, I felt really tired and like feverish and out of it, you know. And my cough was starting, but it wasn't that bad. So I was like, oh, I'm okay. And then when I got to my mom's, it was a lot more of like the gross like congestion that you're hearing now. I don't know. But I was also supposed to go to New York, and I couldn't do it. I was too tired. If I like really pushed myself, I probably could have, but I don't think it's worth it, because still today, like I'm tired. So it would not have been worth it. It would not have been worth it. Trying to come to terms with the fact that I do have to work tomorrow, and that makes me sad. Because I want to just keep sleeping. But it's okay. It's okay, because New Year's is coming up. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and I am off on New Year's Day. So that's great. That's great. That's great. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth mentioning. I feel like that probably covers it. So, like I said, I'm gonna work on that vlog from the Arizona trip. I really didn't get footage from being in Tennessee or from being with my mom. So I think it's really just from Arizona, which is fine. I miss going to Dutch Bros while I was there, which is just a coffee chain, but we don't have them here. So many things we don't have that I saw there, like Carl's Jr. and Raising Cane's. I mean, I don't think I can eat anything at these places anyway, because I don't eat meat, but still. There was another one too. In-N-Out. What else? There was a Sprouts grocery chain, which I did really like. It was like all clean, organic, like it was like a health food store. We don't have those, but it was pretty cool. checking my inbox, and I'm terrified because I think there's going to be a lot of emails waiting for me. But let me know if you have any New Year's Eve plans.